but 4 more persons who died of coronavirus have been buried under strict supervision at the COVID-19 burial site at the Awudome Cemetery. Coordinator and supervisor of the burials in the Greater Accra region, Joseph Abugwe Asetanga, tells JoyNews persons who die of coronavirus do not have the luxury of tombstones as their bodies are buried in unmarked graves. He warns more deaths are likely to happen if Ghanaians continue to deny the existence of the virus. Maxwell Agbagba had exclusive access to the COVID-19 burial site and now reports.
Final burial rites and funerals play a huge role in bringing closure, especially to persons who have lost their loved ones. But have you ever imagined what it is like to lose a family member or a friend without being able to see their face for the last time after their bodies leave the morgue? Well, that is what most family members of persons who died of COVID-19 experience. The siren of the hearse carrying 4 people who died of coronavirus to the Awudome Cemetery. Environmental officers fully dressed in their protective clothing are sitting in the bucket of one of the pickups. In there is a bucket full of the chlorine they used in disinfecting the remains at the morgue. In the convoy too are family members of the dead who do not want to be identified. This is because of stigma.
And this is the burial site for COVID-19, and when you come here, you see this big signage here, burial site for COVID-19. And this is the point where we go to the burial site. I see writing, I don't know if you heard Mr. Sitanga, he's telling me that we shouldn't capture any of the family members. And of course, you know, the stigmatization, the stigma that comes with COVID-19. We've been trying to fight this, but it looks the case that a lot of people are still stigmatizing others with COVID-19. I don't know whether to call it stigma or precaution. From my experience, just when we're coming here, we went to the morgue where the bodies were collected, the remains were collected, and there I was very thirsty, so I tried to go and get water from one of the shops very close, one of the convenience stores very close to the morgue. The moment the lady who was selling the water saw me in this PPE, she told me not to get close to her. She told me not to come closer and that she doesn't have water, she can't sell water to me. But then I was in this full PPE. I mean, you can say it is precaution, but there's some element of stigma also in there.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
That was last week.
Here at this burial site, I have met the man who disinfects the bodies before they are taken from the morgue. He has disinfected more than 40 bodies. For fear of being stigmatized, he only agreed to speak to me on condition of anonymity.
For now, I don't have the total number here, but we've done over 40. For now, I don't have the total body now. So the disinfection procedure is one of the key elements that we do in a way of we, the team members, we are also protecting the burial team. So this is a technical thing that we do to protect each and every one that have a direct contact with the coffin from the morgue up to the cemetery. That is the environmental health officers, that's our duty. So for us, the infectious body, we've been doing it for some time. You understand? So this is the COVID body, but this is a procedure that we use for any infectious body. So for the disinfection, that's the standard that we used to do. Every surfaces, the peripheral surfaces that we touch, we have to disinfect every surface. So from the coffin, every handle that we touch from there, we have to disinfect it to protect the team, the disinfection team that will protect those that they are doing the burial, that none of us will get into contact with the COVID-19 virus.
One prominent feature of all cemeteries are tombstones with names of the dead beautifully engraved on them as a way of showing final respect. But family members of COVID-19 victims cannot do that for their loved ones. They are buried in unmarked graves Coordinator and supervisor of the COVID-19 burials, Joseph Asitanga, has been explaining to me why they are stripped of that privilege.
We don't allow block work on the COVID bodies.
Why is that?
Infectious bodies.
Okay.
Yes, why is that? When we put block work and cement the grave, it retards easy decomposition of the body.
Okay.
And the possibility of collection and evaporation of whatever organism that is there to also come to cause more sickness. So when we bury them on the earth ground, earth burial. One thing is that we are adopting something now. All the graves here, for the purpose of stigmatization, we did not allow labeling and naming of the graves.
Okay.
Yes, because when you get stand here, you see the COVID site for COVID burial. So when we come to put somebody name here, so and so, on the grave here, it remains forever. Possibly in the grandchildren who are likely to come up. One day may be stigmatized that, oh, our father died out of this particular disease that hacked the country some time ago. And that can even go down by stigmatizing and making people to even get scared with that particular family. We try as much as best as possible to prevent labeling and naming the graves. Such that after the burial, if you want to come here, you still need to seek permission from the MPH, the Metro Public Health Department. Okay. And we don't even allow you to come here because once you've come to identify the grave and this is where they laid your family member to rest, that ends it. Okay. The gate is under key and locked. You cannot have access here. Wow. Yes.
So if you want access, you need permission from you?
Access is not even permitted to any family member to come and inspect anything here.
So how do the family members, if they want, some kind of coping mechanisms, just want to walk towards the grave, how do they identify the graves where their relatives were buried?
It is a protection to the family that government, for that matter, where the burial team of the various district assemblies is protecting the family. So infectious site, no VOC, no block work. We do earth burials. Okay. Yes.
Okay, great. And so last week you buried how many bodies?
As an indicator, we buried 47. Okay. It's almost 48. We have not yet buried the last one. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So last week you buried about 6 here. Yes. You told me. So this is one of the sites. Yes. It has not been covered?
Yeah. These are fresh graves waiting for burial.
Okay.
All these are.
Okay. So all these are fresh graves waiting for burial.
Waiting for burials. Okay. So when you look after the fresh graves, all these are burials. Ahead, all that is burials. And this is the Christian site, solely for a Christian. Okay. So from here we go to the Muslim site where we did the other burials. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Aside from the harsh reality of environmental health officers taking custody of the body and the denial of a typical Ghanaian burial rites, family members are not allowed to see the body when it leaves the morgue under the strict supervision of health authorities. Joseph Asitanga warns of more deaths if Ghanaians continue to deny the existence of the virus.
COVID-19 has come to stay with us and it is there. It's real. The whole thing is that most of the times we observe the cultural and traditional norms of the various tribes that we come into encounter with. Or else we would have been doing the bare laying of the people from the morgue to the cemetery site for the whole world to see that this disease is real. The perception that the disease is not there, it is not true. Every day, before you are declared as a COVID-19 victim, the doctors will not benefit or take any profit for lying to you that you died out of COVID-19 when it's not COVID-19 that caused your death. So the public should be aware that every day the COVID-19 is killing people. Every day COVID-19, people are dying through COVID-19. And COVID-19 is living with us from where we live to where we do our business, wherever we are moving in our vehicles, whatever business activity, whatever daily activities we do, COVID-19 is moving with us. Okay. And therefore, it's better we still continue to understand that the disease is there. And therefore, whatever preventive and protocol measures that are prescribed by WHO, everybody should comply and go by it for us to help reduce the number of deaths that are coming. because more deaths is likely to occur when we continue to perceive that the disease is not there.